This video will discuss cleaning and disinfecting the pharmacy cleanroom. The general flow and segments will be to garb and gown, then prep the bucket and supplies, clean the non-HD buffer room, clean the HD buffer room, clean the anteroom clean side, and then finish with the anteroom dirty side. Within each room, the processes will be to restock if part of the site plan, change out garbage and other containers, clean horizontal surfaces, and clean the floors. Our first step is to garb and gown. If you're going to be restocking the cleanroom, you should bring in all materials and supplies needed up to the line of demarcation prior to starting this process. Okay, our first step is to apply our hat. Make sure you cover up all your hair if you have hair. The next step is to put on a face mask. You're going to cover up as much of your face as possible, and then you're going to apply booties. The booties should be put on the feet, stepping over and onto the clean side of the anteroom, never making contact with the dirty side floor. Once you finish that step, you can fully step into the clean side of the anteroom, go to the sink, and grab the nail picks that are there and clean under your nails if you have not done so already for the day. If you have done this, you don't need to repeat it every single time you enter the IV room. After you've finished the nail cleaning, you're going to wash your hands thoroughly with soap and water. It's very important that you do it for a minimal of 30 seconds all the way up into the elbows. This is to reduce all the bioburden that's on your hands and your arms, which are usually the most contaminated parts of our bodies. This will ensure that we bring in the minimal amount of germs into the clean room and you minimally contaminate anything else that you touch, including your jacket when you go to put that on. One thing that helps during this time is to sing a little song in your head, such as the happy birthday song, to ensure that you do this for a full 30 seconds. Once you've completed, please wash off all the soap and then use paper towels to dry your hands. After that, you will be donning your jacket. The purpose of the jacket, it's a low lint jacket that's meant to contain particle shedding from our skin and also our underclothing. Once you've applied the jacket, be sure to button it up, and then you're going to perform hand antisepsis to ensure that we kill off any bacteria and viruses and other agents that are remaining on our hands. You should have a Purell dispenser nearby. After that, we'll be donning our gloves. Grab a glove that is of appropriate size, put it out on a horizontal surface nearby, and apply the gloves aseptically, being sure not to touch the fingertips. Step 2 is to prep our bucket and our supplies. The bucket only needs preparation if there's no disposable pads already in it, and the steps are shown on the screen. The supply items will be brought across if they're needed to restock the IV room, where you will be spraying and wiping with alcohol the outside surfaces at the line of demarcation and bring them onto the clean side of the anteroom. If your bucket doesn't already have pads in it, you'll need to start a new one. Grab 1 gallon of the suitable cleaner, preamp shown here, and carefully pour it into the bucket, being sure not to splash. After that, you're going to grab a pack of 50 disposable mop pads, put them face up so the writing is towards you, and drop them carefully into the bucket, as again, not to splash. Close the lid and clasp all 4 clasps. Note that all this is done at the line of demarcation and the bucket stays on the dirty side. Once you've clasped it, go ahead and invert the bucket and let the pads soak for approximately 10 minutes. When you return and flip the bucket back open, the pads should be thoroughly saturated. You may need to rearrange them if they became flipped over or bunched up. Use your mop handle to go ahead and remove 1 single disposable pad by pressing firmly. Once you remove the pad from the bucket, the most important thing you need to do is to close the bucket. This ensures that the pads stay wet and the fluid does not evaporate. Our first room that we will start cleaning is the non-HD buffer room. It's not shown in the video, but we will start with restocking if that's part of our site plan and changing garbages. Then we will clean horizontal surfaces and then clean the floors. First thing we'll need to clean is the pass-through. We will use either preamp wipes or low lint wipes with preamp spray. Notice that we're going to need to wipe all outside surfaces of the door, all inside surfaces, sides, ceiling, and the ground. Consider cleaning this similar to cleaning out a hood and working from the dirtiest area to the cleanest, or in other words, moving back to front. Pay careful attention to get the outside of the door before you close it, and also wipe any handles. Once you've finished with the door, we'll be working on other horizontal surfaces in the room, such as carts and tabletops, the tops of chairs, the tops of garbage containers, it's Stericycle containers, and we also need to get the floor vents, as these tend to accumulate dust on a regular basis. Please wipe from the top to bottom as shown. Once we're done with that, we can start on the floor. You're going to take your mop and start in the farthest point into the room and go back and forth, hitting all surfaces. Now, one thing to note is if you want to get underneath every surface as much as possible and move any movable surfaces, but we do not need to move the actual hoods or large items such as the refrigerator. If your mop pad becomes dry halfway through cleaning a single room, you can go ahead and spray the floor or the pad directly with more preamp solution. As you're mopping, you also want to make sure that you work any debris that might be in the room out and towards the exit. For the case of the non-HD buff room, you'll be working that towards the anteroom and actually putting it into the clean side of the anteroom when complete. If your pad, once you're done with that room, you can go ahead and change the pad, remove it from the mop head, discard it in the anteroom trash, and go back to your bucket to obtain a new pad. Once you've finished cleaning the non-HD buffer room, you'll move on to cleaning the HD buffer room. To enter this area, you will need to put on a second pair of gloves and a second pair of booties. However, you will not need to wear a second jacket and or chemo jacket if you're only entering to clean the room. The overall process is similar. You'll still restock the room and change garbage if needed, clean horizontal surfaces, and clean the floors, with one difference being that the floor debris will be swept towards the exit and picked up. Shown here, we're donning the second pair of booties before entering the HD room, and then we'll be donning the second pair of gloves. Note that this must be done prior to entering the room, and they should be removed prior to leaving the room to keep any contamination inside the room. Clean with preamp solution your horizontal surfaces as before, such as the chair, and then move on to the floor. The floor is easy to clean in the HD buff room as the hoods are raised, allowing you to easily get under them and clean all areas. Continue to work the debris across the room and towards the entrance. Once finished, remove the pad and use it to pick up any of the floor debris that remains and discard that in HD trash. We do this to prevent actually bringing the HD contamination back into the clean room. Then wipe down your mop handle using alcohol or preamp solution. Discard that wipe into the trash as well. And also place the handle back in the anteroom. Once you're done with all that, you're going to, in the designated area, remove your gloves and then remove your booties. The last areas to clean are the anteroom clean side and then the dirty side. In this area, you'll be following similar processes as before. However, you will be cleaning the entire sink, changing out paper towels and soap dispensers, and then pushing any floor debris across the line of demarcation and finishing up by sweeping that out onto the tacky mat. In this last segment, we'll show the processes that are different from other areas of cleaning. For the paper towel dispenser, please pull down on the outside. There is a keyhole at the top, however, you do not actually need the key. If you pull with sufficient force, it will release. Place the paper towel in between the blue handles as shown, and then go ahead and feed the start of the roll underneath the blue bar. Once you've got it under the blue bar, you can go ahead and press the button in the bottom right hand corner and it will pull the paper towel through. At that point, you can tear it off and close the door. Next, for the soap dispensers and the alcohol dispensers, push the two buttons on the outside as shown near the top. That will allow you to pull the door open, and then you could take your refill pack and go ahead and put it properly into the dispenser. It does take a little bit of work. There's some tabs that you can line up and push it in. Once you've done that, you go ahead and close it and you're all set. For cleaning the sink, you're going to use preamp solution as you do in most other areas. Wipe all outer surfaces, including inside the basin, the sides, the faucet, and the handle. Do be careful as you do this. You will set off the motion sensor and probably start the water. Once you've done that, the next area you're going to move on to is the floors. Here we're actually already on the dirty side of the line of demarcation cleaning. We've brought all debris across the line from the clean side. Remember that we'll have debris also from the buffer room on that clean side that will move across. And we're going to continue working everything out towards the exit of the anteroom. Once we've exited, you're going to go ahead and sweep everything onto the tacky mat. When we do so, we'll bring all that debris out. It'll all be stuck on that tacky mat, and we're going to go ahead and remove that final mop pad on the tacky mat as well, and then go ahead and wrap up everything within the tacky mat. You can leave your mop handle inside the anteroom as shown, close the door, and then go ahead and pick up the tacky mat. Seal it up, and then you can discard that, remove all your PPE, and you're all set. And this video is complete, and we've finished cleaning the clean room.